Oh, good. It's just a voodoo doll that looks exactly like me. Ooh, what a relief.
For a plumbing experience you'll want to relive, call Mr. Rooter.
Guys, there never seems to be enough time in the day, but you need to make time for this. Ken Franchek here. If you're 40 or over, a quick PSA blood test is crucial for early prostate cancer detection. The Prostate Cancer Center's Man Van is a mobile health clinic driving change for men's health. A few minutes could save your life. To get the Man Van out to your business or event, book today at getcheck.ca.
From the first face-off,
Sports 1440
is your home for hockey talk.
with live coverage.
Expert analysis and pre- and post-game shows.
We bring you
Closer to the game.
Tune in 24/7.
Only on Sports 1440.
Edmonton Sports Station.
The world's biggest soccer tournament is here. When the match is on, you call the shots. Whether it's a parlay after working all day or a straight bet and straight to bed, Betway has what it takes for you to bet the Edmonton way. So when it's your turn to play the Edmonton way with Betway. Play responsibly. Alberta only. 18+.
If gambling is affecting your mental health or well-being, 211 Alberta is here to help. Call or text 211 or visit ab.211.ca. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Like to score a winning deal at Car West Leduc. Like raising the cup in your hometown on your birthday. Feel it now at Car West Leduc. Experience a vast, uncompromising selection of top-quality used vehicles with no extra fees. Trucks, sedans, vans, SUVs, and more. Backed by family-run service and top dealer ratings on Google. So when the final siren goes, you go home with a deal you'll never forget. Car West Leduc, 6514 Sparrow Drive Leduc, or at carwestautosales.com.
Get the inside scoop for your team
On Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
Good morning. Welcome to Fantasy Frenzy, of course, powered by the one and only Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky, wilhaukbeefjerky.com. And of course, they're only available in Leduc. You can go check out Trent, make fun of him for his Dallas Cowboys, whatever you want to do. But yes, Wilhauk, the best beef jerky in the land. Well, Duke, Of course, you were alongside me, the one, the only, Brandon Douglas. It's been, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, the first Tom Gazzola show, the first iteration.
The inaugural.
Yes.
The debut.
It was a great show. Obviously, I was listening myself for, bits and pieces in and out a little bit as we were, in the car on over at home. Just, wanted to stream it, check it out, see
were
how
you able
Tommy was
to,
doing.
before you left home, Donovan, were you able to watch via YouTube? Has your internet problems at your homestead yet been resolved?
They are not resolved.
Oh, poor Donovan.
Apparently, we're going to get things all somewhat sorted out here on Tuesday. So
things are looking up.
Things are looking up.
There's reason for optimism.
Yes, there are reasons for optimism finally. But Tom did a great job. Obviously, you two fellas on the technical sides and filling in the gap did a great job as always as well. But I know you unfortunately have talked a lot about Leo Carlsson and the Anaheim Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to pan this over to, I think they're going to match, but what do they do if they don't match, Brandon?
That's not a topic I'm willing to discuss because it's not going to happen.
My thought process is you're not going to lose Leo Carlsson. I don't think they will choose to let him leave because that would be a catastrophic mistake. I think we would all acknowledge that.
Mhm.
But like, you would get 4 first-round picks, and 4 first-round picks gets you a lot of things and a lot of potential impact players. So, like, are they potentially willing to just say, you know what, we'll take our 4 firsts, we'll take our chances, and let's go grab a different impact player who we're more comfortable with the salary cap space, we're more comfortable with, maybe a player who makes only, $10 million bucks, or maybe a player who, is more established in their NHL career. Like, Leo's an awesome player.
Did you have someone in mind here, Donovan? You seem to be ramping up to something in terms of maybe a specific target that you think Pat Verbeek and company could be interested in.
I mean, like, you're not going to get Jason Robertson. I think people might want to throw that name out.
But then
there.
Once again, it's like, if you're going to be paying Jason Robertson,
of course,
$15 million a year, do you just say, okay, well, let's just match it then?
Like, yeah, no, like, to me, you're not going to go get Jason Robertson. Like, I think that's pretty clear that he really, really wants to stay in Dallas and will kind of almost do whatever it takes at this point via arbitration.
Mm-hmm.
So Robertson's not the guy there, but this just, like, could you see one of these guys kind of work their way out of the woodwork for just an absolute shocking blockbuster? Like,
the only name I've seen as a possibility, and it just kind of lines up now, it would take him agreeing to it, essentially, because we know that this individual has requested a trade, and it has been just 3 teams, Anaheim not among them, and that's Dylan Larkin out of Detroit. Yeah. So that seems like a possibility in the sense that it's obviously not going to cost you all 4 first-round picks.
No.
Probably cost you a first-round, maybe 2, maybe 1 in one of your prospects that you still got hanging around, because they do still have a pretty good crop waiting in the wings in San Diego and beyond. But he comes in at essentially half the price of what Carlsson would need to be paid. He is more experienced, but does he have the ceiling? I don't think that it's the ideal situation that you replace your top center spot, replace Leo Carlsson with Dylan Larkin. But if that is what you think is the best utilization of your available resources, you could do worse, right?
Yeah, of course.
Top line centermen don't just become available. And when they do, usually costs a lot. It usually means they need a new contract, right? And we know, just like all these deals, the price is just going up and up and up. If you're talking about making an offer sheet, then in turn at Connor Bedard, well, what does that price have to be for Chicago not to match? Probably pretty close to what you would need to pay Carlsson. So that seems like a non-starter, in my opinion, as well. And Dylan Larkin, is he a top-line centerman on a Stanley Cup winning team? Or is he a second-line centerman on that same caliber of club? I think he probably exists somewhere almost in between the two, if you know what I mean. Like, almost in tandem with another really good centerman. I'm convinced that Pat Verbeek said it. He said, we'll match any offer sheet. I think you got to stick to your word, or else all of a sudden you kind of open the doors to get, I don't know if bullied's the right term, but the rest of the league and the other general managers may not be as keen on doing business with you. They might kind of look to take you to the cleaners more frequently. Like, you become the target of other preying executive branches.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, there's a world where this comes back to bite them in terms of like that. I love what Danny Briere did in terms of the challenge, right, from Pat Verbeek, where Verbeek said, we will match any offer sheet presented. And Danny Briere almost came up to him and said, really? Okay, here's one.
Yeah.
Have fun, buddy. The other guys that maybe come to mind, this one's maybe not as possible as a Dylan Larkin, but his name has been out there this summer a little bit. It's Matthew Barzal.
Okay.
In my opinion, not a true number 1 center, kind of similar to that mold of Dylan Larkin, but maybe I think people wouldn't necessarily view him in the same light as Dylan Larkin. But man, if you look at Matt Barzal's career, if you look at some of the numbers, I feel like people dramatically underrate this player.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from on the comparisons. Like, you were talking about Larkin and Barzal as replacement options. Like, they're obviously older, and you kind of would maybe prefer to have a player that fits in line with the way the Ducks continue to grow and get better. And this is such a wrench thrown in. You can't repeat ourselves, but it's just so true that it completely knocks this door off the hinges of what the Ducks have been building for the last number of years. Now, Barzal, I don't think he's as good of a 200-foot player,
of course,
as
not,
Dylan Larkin. Does he have a little bit more offensive upside? Sure. Is he a little bit more of a pass-first playmaker type that could complement someone like Cutter Gauthier, who we expect to remain in the fold? Sure. I'll buy that. Like, once again, you can do a lot worse, but what's Barzal's remaining money?
It's a $9.15 million deal, and it goes through 2031.
Yeah. So you get the security as you would with Larkin. So those are almost a little bit of a toss-up. And once again, the price tag comes in at essentially $9 million less, like half the money. There's a lot you can do with that, including signing Cutter Gauthier, which in the world that they match the offer sheet, Carlsson remains a Duck, heavily overpaid. They need to make other moves and just basically shed bodies to then sign Gauthier, who I have to think is going to be coming in around $15 million per year.
Yeah,
because on the heels of this, you just went on overpaid. You're one of your only remaining defensemen too, in Minchikov, who I like a lot. I definitely don't like him at over $7 million for a 5-year deal. That might look good in year 4.
Yeah,
if he can take big strides forward, maybe by year 2 or 3. But as of right now, that's a big tag for a guy that is still kind of finding his footing on a consistency basis at the NHL level. And right now, he's the team's top pairing D-man, and that includes Jackson Lacombe playing the offside.
I can't believe how it's all kind of crumbled down here for the Ducks. But they do have the potential. Maybe you buy the outline of Matt Barzal, maybe you don't. But they do have some maybe potential options to look at. Dylan Larkin, we still don't know. He probably wouldn't waive to come to Anaheim in light of what's just happened. But, there are some potential options out there. Or they could go for the Connor Bedard offer sheet.
It's like that just doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't, but it would be fun.
Because I think the Blackhawks it's even more important to them to keep Bedard than it is for the Ducks to keep Carlsson.
I agree. I completely agree with you there, too.
Because if you want some sort of silver lining or glass half full approach for Anaheim, it's just say, okay, we won't be probably as good this year, but it doesn't handicap us financially, doesn't tie one arm behind our back, essentially, with an $18 million player. And do they still have the high hopes for Roger McQueen, who is the player they was kind of one of the most risk reward type guys in last summer's draft? They ended up getting him, 10th overall, 9th something in that realm.
Yep.
Out of Brandon, played at Providence last year, where he's that same profile, size, speed, skill. He checks all the boxes. He's, I don't think, probably going to play in the NHL this year. I'd be shocked. Like, he doesn't have an NHL contract. He's going to college, back to Providence, excuse me. But you never know. Like, we saw Beckett Seneca make the team out of camp, and that surprised a lot of people. And then maybe Seneca's another option to you, where he was drafted as a centerman, but growing into his body still, do you want to thrust that on him? He had a lot of success playing the wing last season. I have to think you probably want to build on that rather than put a whole bunch of new things on his plate and say, oh yeah, by the way, we need you to be the team's new number 1 centerman in year 2. It's what they asked Carlsson to do. He answered the bell well, but you have still those veteran insulations in the form of Granlund, Kreider, Kaloran as wingers. You've been Paling they brought back too. So I don't know. There are ways out of this that don't include Leo Carlsson for Anaheim, but I just don't think any of them will result in them being as good and continuing to build on what we saw them accomplish last season.
No, I don't either. I think the really only way out for Anaheim is just keeping Leo Carlsson, but then you're in the trouble with Cutter Gauthier, and then there's the whole, you still need to ice an NHL quality defense, and I'm sorry, that's not an NHL quality defense.
Oh, buddy, as of right now, they signed Nick Jensen, who's the graybeard of the group. Otherwise, you'd be looking at a collection of players all 25 or under, and with the exception of Lacombe and Minchikov and sort of Drew Hellison, guys with less than 20 games of NHL experience. That's a half your decor would have less than a half season of NHL experience.
Yep. And
that does not, to me, read as a recipe for success.
No, it doesn't for me either. And then you also still have Tyson Hines as an RFA, who's not going to get a ton of money.
No, his deal will be very small.
It'll be small, but I don't mind Tyson Hines. Tyson Hines is an NHL defenseman, but I just look at this crew and say, this is going to be lunch meat for pretty much every team in the league outside of Jackson McComb. Like, I don't mind Pavel Mintyukov. Like, he's a good player, but 7.2 is just blasphemous. Like, am I taking him or Brant Clark? They're basically the same ticket now. It's a $300K difference. Brant Clark every day of the week.
I think Clark has more offensive upside. I think Mintyukov's a better defender at this current stage. And like, Mintyukov's got size. He skates really well. Like, there's a lot to like. Another guy that's a top 10 pick from a couple years ago and had a great rookie season. Stumbled a little bit since then. So it's just a matter of inexperience is what stands out about Anaheim's blue line right now. And like, if you're running down, so Jackson McComb, you know what you're getting. Mintyukov played basically second pairing minutes all of last year. You have to think you're probably at 7-2. Yeah, you need him to do that again. And then on the right side, it's some combination of Luneau, Hellison, and Ian Moore, who, by the way, played more forward in the back half of last season than he did defense. It's not a pretty sight. And then probably Tyson Hines on your third pairing left shot guy, assuming he gets a new deal hammered out as an RFA at the moment. So it's trying times. There's no doubt about it right now for the Ducks. And Pat Verbeek's got his work cut out for him with a mess that is completely of his own making.
Yeah, I mean, Pat Verbeek, he did it to himself. He's done a lot of things to himself as a general manager here. It's for a team that was supposed to have an internal cap this season, that's out the window, right? Like,
take it to the limit.
Oh boy, they're going to take it to the limit. And I know we're getting texts about, Cutter Gauthier has no negotiating rights. Yeah, he can have no negotiating rights other than, hi guys, I scored 40 goals last season. I can just sit here. I'm comfortable sitting here. I don't have to sign a deal right away. I can just wait.
They at his point with no offer sheet eligibility or arbitration rights, he's a guy that his only now ticket or tool is holding out. And we know how that usually ends up going, continued bad blood between team and player. I don't see that as a route Anaheim wants to go down, especially now. You want to keep this relationship as positive as possible. And if they do come to terms in these holdout spots, it's usually short-term deals and then just 1 year on the next until he does become offer sheet eligible. He gains ARB rights, and now you're just giving more hammers in the hands of the player and his agent to eventually walking him to free agency.
If he signs a 1 year deal, the Anaheim Ducks are screwed.
It's not good.
Because that walks him right to that offer sheet and right to another team. That's all it does. You can say that he has no negotiating rights all you want. His negotiating rights are, do you want the 40 goal scorer on your team or not? Because you can I'll sign a 1 year deal. And then I'm signing that offer sheet that comes my way next year.
Yeah.
That's his negotiating rights. That is exactly what his agent and himself will be saying to Pat Verbeek. And if you're Pat Verbeek, you've gone down this road with pressing these guys time and time again, and now it's bit you in the behind. So you kind of have to maybe step up to the plate here and pay a player what he's worth. I don't care that he's 22 years old and has no ARB rights. You're going to pay the man because do you want the 40 goal scorer or not? I think it's pretty much that simple. And he has no signs of showing you that he's just a flash in the pan. Like that's a 40 goal scorer.
Yeah,
year in and year out.
It's a guy that like coming out of college was like, this is a goal scorer, pure and simple. And he first full season showed that, right? Opportunity presented itself. He was the leading scorer, goal scorer, was great in the playoffs too. Actually, I shouldn't say that. There were times in the playoffs where I didn't notice him as much compared to say the likes of Seneca and Carlsson just by comparison. But I mean, this was a very green Ducks team who, by the way, still won a playoff round despite that fact. So I'm not going to hold that against him in the here and now by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, what does that deal? What does the deal look like? Is if Pat Verbeek just ponies up and says, we'll make it $15 million a year, is that enough for Cutter Gauthier to sign on to an full term deal? 7 or 8 years. I would think it would be, but maybe he's looking around and seeing this player empowerment era that we're kind of right in the throes of here with the Kachucks and the Hughes and the Larkins and everyone else, and says, I'm good with just a 4-year deal, 5-year deal to match the one that Carlsson could still be on board with. And then you say, I'll see you come UFA time. Because even for Gauthier, eligible to become, I guess we don't know for sure, because it depends on how many games he's going to play, I guess, in years of service to when his UFA status comes up, but it's not going to be that far down the road.
No, it's not. And Pat Verbeek has to change his tune. And I think it's that plain and simple in terms of the way that he's managed his young players. And to me, it's as simple as, if you think a guy's legit, just pay the man. It's the more you wait, the harder you are on the guy, the more chance he has at leaving your team or making more money in a year's time, right? So the Anaheim Ducks, they're the story this week, and they're going to continue to be until we see what the result of the Leo Carlsson offer sheet is. We've ran a smidge long here, so we'll cut to break here. But after the break, Brando, I'll lead us into this. After the break, I do want to touch on kind of who's left in free agency and who you might have some interest in maybe bringing in. It's an interesting group as to relative, like compared to other years. This is a really interesting group that we've got left on July 6th. Usually it's kind of these unknowns. Usually it's these guys who have obviously had too high of a thought on what they're worth. And now you've got some veterans left over. You've got some a 60-point player left over in Mantha, right? You've got a lot of interesting players left over, in my opinion. So I want to take us into that, into segment 2 here. But of course, this is Fantasy Frenzy, powered by Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
You may get up early, but more than likely, the team at GS Construction have already gotten up before you, grabbed a coffee, headed to the site, and started their day. So while Edmonton wakes up, GS crews are already underground, quietly keeping things moving, upgrading, and laying the new underground infrastructure for our growing city. If you're the kind of person who goes to sleep with their steel-toed boots on, GS Construction wants to hear from you. We're looking for a maintenance foreman as well as a building and yard attendant. Visit gsconstruction.ca for more.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Car shopping sucks. That's right. Going back and forth 100 times just to get a price. Give me your credit card for a test drive. What's all these extra fees? That sounds ridiculous. At Northgate, we do things a little differently. Good deals on new, pre-owned vehicles, good people, and a great selection. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
Beer League Slow Pitch. It's an Alberta summer tradition.
I got shortstop. I'll take pitcher. Yeah, I'm just here for the dugout snacks.
When you're playing on the field, you need serious fuel, and there's only one MVP.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Load up on Alberta's best beef jerky and hit a home run with the team. It's the perfect snack for your summer sports.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Edmonton's go-to station for all things sports is Sports 1440.
From Low Tide to Kevin Carriott and Jason Greger, we deliver the latest on your favorite teams.
Tune in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week
to Sports 1440.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. The goal of every one of the thousands of hair restoration procedures I've performed is a full, natural-looking head of hair. I work directly with my patients for the consultation, the procedure, and the follow-up, so we can achieve the best results possible. When people see what we accomplish, I don't want them to think,
wow, great hair transplant.
I want them to think,
Wow, great hair.
go to drvancelliot.com and contact us today.
For over 60 years, the folks at Diablo Boots have been selling the best Canadian-made boots. Handcrafted in Winnipeg, Canada West makes the best quality cowboy, biker, and work boots for Diablo Boots with replaceable soles and heels. Why buy cheaper quality like Ariat, Justin, and Red Wing made in China when Canadian-made is better? Support Canada's workers and Diablo Boots for the best boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. Canada West and Diablo Boots, the two best names in the boots business.
Who should start? Who needs to hit the bench? Find out with Fantasy Frenzy with Halley and Douglas.
This is Sports 1440.
Presented by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
Welcome back. Fantasy Frenzy, of course, powered by Wilhauk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky, wilhaukbeefjerky.com. That was quite the song there, too.
You familiar with the hustle?
I am familiar.
You know how to do the hustle, Donnie?
Do I know how to? No.
Oh, Donnie, gotta hustle. If you ever find yourself in a little discotheque or something, you need to be able to hustle to impress the birds.
Oh yeah,
Do you venture into local discos frequently?
No, I do not.
Oh, okay.
I don't venture into local discos. I also don't venture into local country bars because this man cannot dance.
You're too intimidated.
I'm not intimidated. I just can't dance. I don't have a dancing bone in my body. It doesn't really work. It's I kind of just, you ever see those people on the dance floor who they just
look like they're convulsing?
No, not convulsing, but they look like they're not limber, and they look like they can't, like, I don't know how else
they look like they can't dance.
Yes, just straight up they can't dance. Like everything looks all stiff, and there's no rhythm to the music.
You're so
That's
adverse
me.
to dancing, you can't even describe verbally being bad at dancing.
No,
that's how bad at dancing you are.
I'm too stiff, and I can't keep along to like the rhythm. Like there's no actual rhythm in my body for that, which is weird because I grew up playing piano as a kid.
Not very well would be my
I was actually quite a good piano player, but it's weird. Nothing translated into dancing.
Insane.
I don't know how it works, but EG is with me. Donnie, I'm with you on the dancing. Yeah, it's not pretty. You don't want to see me busting a move out there on the dance floor. But yes, we will get into the next segment here, presented by, of course, Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca. Articles, podcasts, and more, breaking down the green and gold, the most in-depth green double E football coverage online, elksnation.ca. Duke, I kind of teed it up before we went into break here about the best of the rest left over in NHL free agency. And you can look up and down this list. There are still a lot of quality players left over. And it's shocking to me, especially up front, which is perfect for the Oilers, right? They're still kind of looking to add from reports into the top six, particularly a winger. And there's still a lot of options left on the table. It sounds like they're not in the mix on Claude Giroux anymore, as Giroux, I guess, doesn't want to be an Edmonton Oiler. You'd assume they're out on Patrick Kane because that's more of he's only played for original six teams. And, you know, I would expect he probably continues that trend. Out of the guys that are left over.
So what original six team is he going to then? Toronto? Montreal? I doubt it.
I do doubt it. I think he just stays in Detroit.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Run it back.
Run it back, Turbo. of the guys left over, who do you see as maybe like who intrigues you, I guess, and who would be maybe a fit for the Oil?
Yeah, it's an interesting. I was very much on board with the Oilers dipping back into the free agent or the free agency pool to take a flyer on someone. And it's not really a flyer when you talk about the experience they have, but I was very much in the camp of being on board with Claude Giroux being a target for the team because he can play the wing as a scoring option. At this stage of his career, he's not a difference maker as a scorer, but he gives you versatility up and down your lineup to, if you have still good expectations for Ike Howard and you want to give him a little bit of runway to try and earn to the top 6 spot, but then when he hits, rookie walls and cold spots and isn't playing at his best, which we know young players often endure, then you have like a veteran like Claude Giroux able to then elevate in the lineup, maybe moving from a third line to a second line role on the wing, and then still take kill penalties, take faceoffs in critical situations as a right-handed option. Those are all notions that I like. But as you pointed out, our own Mark Spector reporting, the Oilers are not in the mix for him. So now you run down and you look at some of these other options and you say, okay, well, Patrick Laine, Vander Kane, Tarasenko, Bunting. Do any of these really excite you? And I don't envision any of them coming very expensive. So it would still give the Oilers some flexibility. But I think now with the pool that's left, I'm inclined more to further explore the trade market.
Okay. Yeah.
And I say that even as, are you comfortable starting the season with what you have and seeing if Ike Howard can take that step in his second year pro, somewhat similar to Matt Savoy? Now, let's remember, it was not a blazing start for Savoy last fall. It took him a while to get his feet under him, but then once he got going and scored, at a really nice rate down the stretch of the season as the Oilers were fighting for a playoff spot, trying to duke it out for the top of the division still. So that was very encouraging. Now, can Howard, different profile of player a little bit, can he take that step? I think the Oilers would like him to, and then it gives them that cap flexibility, continue to improve the roster elsewhere. If they need a new D-man, right? It's options, which is always something that a general manager wants to have. So as of right now, I'm not sure I like any of these remaining UFA options as a targeted fix or targeted add to, call it a top 6 scoring winger type.
I'm actually shocked, Duke.
Really?
Because there's one really obvious player there. It's Vladimir Tarasenko.
What's left in the tank?
He scored 23 goals last year and did in totally limited minutes.
So where would you think he can still play alongside Draisaitl?
I mean, yeah, probably.
Okay.
Would you like him more on a third line right now? Absolutely. But he played 14.56 a night last year and scored 23 goals, had 47 points. If you're worried about it being all power play production, he had 5 power play goals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mostly 5-on-5 production. That's kind of what the doctor ordered. No? In terms of scoring winger, clearly a middle 6 option at this point in his career. This is not necessarily a biased, I've always liked Vladimir Tarasenko thing. This is just a straight up, this is a clear fit for me. At least how I view it.
So if you look at the most recent stretch of games here, or seasons, I should say, he scored 11 the year before in Detroit. It was a full season. That's less than half of the 23 at Minnesota. So how important is the fit and the chemistry? Is that a gamble you're willing to take? I think at the right price, and I have to assume it'd be a 1-year deal regardless.
Of course, yeah.
What would you be willing to pay Vladimir Tarasenko on a 1-year deal, knowing that there is some risk because the most recent sample size we have of 2 seasons with 2 different teams shows us that one, there was quite a bit of success, and the other not so much.
Somewhere in the range of 1 year, $2.5 million, 1 year, $3 million, something like that. I think that's very fair in terms of you have a veteran player who's obviously clearly in that back 9, but can still give you some quality production. And this is not day 1 of free agency anymore. You're not going to need to pay that same price. And I mean, clearly this is a guy who likes to be on competitive teams. He's won 2 Stanley Cups. I just think you can't put a price on the experience of winning, as well as when you have a guy like this who, in my mind, at this point, could present a very clear value. Like, I know it wasn't pretty in Detroit, but I think you can chalk that up to just a really bad fit and just a guy who, look at who his centers were that year in Detroit, right? Like
probably JT Compher.
Like JT Compher, this is not the same level of talent. And even in many, I felt like he really figured out playing in that third line role and playing an effective part in the machine. And I feel like that's exactly what he could bring to this team. The other guys I'd have interest in, it just depends on money. I'd have an interest in Michael Bunting.
Really?
Kind of a bit of a rat. I know a lot of people have talked about this team doesn't necessarily have enough sandpaper or punch. Michael Bunting gives you a little bit of both in terms of sandpaper and punch. He's a rat. The penalties are questionable at times for me with Michael Bunting, but like he can produce. He can be a quality middle six piece for you. Ellie Tolvanen's a piece where
Tolvanen's a guy that I've always been so fascinated with.
Yes.
Right, as a prospect, but are there enough results at this point where the age-old question, when do you turn from prospect to suspect? And he's not a prospect anymore, right? The number of games under his belt tells us that. But is there any consideration that, he's not consistent enough for what the Oilers are looking for?
I know a lot of people like Tolvanen. He's not my guy. Would I take a swing on him if it was like 1 year, $1.5 million, like Jack Roslovic? Yes, I would. Sign me up for that. But this is a guy who you've seen him score 20 goals plus once. You see him score 40 points once. I just Tolvanen. It depends on the dollars for me with Tolvanen. The other guy I like is Marcus Johansson. I know he's 35 years old. I know he's not necessarily the perfect scoring fit, but he had 15 goals. He had 49 points last year. If you can get this player on another friendly deal, sign me up. I think there's a lot of players here who, if you can sign them for a friendly deal anywhere in the range of 1 year and $1.5 to $3 million, you can sign me up. Tolvanen's more of a 1 year, $1.5 million type of player for me. But like Johansson, if you can get him for 1x2, Tarasenko 1x2.5, like Michael Bunting, if you can get that for like, even I'd go 2x2.5 on Michael Bunting. I don't know what his ask is anymore, but those are the players who I'm looking at. And obviously the big one there is Anthony Mantha, but he's still going to try and get term and money. So that one I want to wait and see what happens. Wait a month and see what happens with Mantha.
Yeah. The names you bring up, I'm not opposed to them because I can absolutely see where you're coming from. But here's my question to you then on the notion of the Oilers pursuing these targets. Do you want to set aside, let's just say it's $2.5 million for whatever guy it is, right? Now, you still have some wiggle rooms for sure, but it's another roster spot, another contract that you are now attached to, because these are all veteran players.
Yep.
Do we think that if they take that smaller amount of money, are we going to see another no trade clause attached to one of them?
Well, of course you would, but you're not attaching term to them.
No,
that's what matters.
So then let's just rewind to where we have another Andre Mangiapane situation, just as the most recent example, where yes, you wouldn't have the extra year of term and you'd be free of it after one, but come middle of the season where you say, we don't have anywhere for this guy to play. It is $2.5 million biting into our pool of available things to go and pursue. Or do you want to just start the year with what you got and then explore in-season options once you've got a better chance of reassessing your team with, let's be frank, it's going to be a very different looking blue line. Yep. When you talk about Darnell Nurse not being around anymore, you add Shea, Ken Wallman elevate his play to be a second pairing guy. Like, there's a lot of question marks still. Goaltending, I hate to say it, there are still plenty of question marks around it, even with three guys there. So to me, if I were Stan Bowman, I'd want to leave myself as much flexibility as possible right now, because you have a team, you have bodies, you have NHL players to fill out your roster, and some of them will be up for grabs from a competitive standpoint come camp. That to me is satisfying enough right now, and leaving yourself the ability to then make in-season moves, plural, rather than just needing to go out and try and hit one home run. And if it doesn't work, then you're left with nothing in your hand again.
To me, I view this as insurance.
Okay.
I view this as insurance on what if you have another lackluster playoff. Now, I'm not blaming Matt Savoy. He's a young player. His first playoff run, whatever. I don't care. He could. I expect young players to have a bad first playoffs. But what if he has a bad second playoffs? What if, Isaac Howard, again, can't deliver in the playoffs? Like, this is the most clear, like, this is all in. No? Like, you signed Freddie Anderson for 1 year and $1 million. And if you heard any of his press conference today over Zoom, it was all about him preaching, I wanted to give them flexibility. I wanted to give them a little bit more room. To me, you're going all in. And what is going to give you insurance? What is going to give you, you don't, in my perspective is, do you really want to be left come the trade deadline where you had a chance to sign a guy who could have made a really nice impact for you and you didn't, and for no money at all, basically, and then need to acquire that player later? Like, I would just rather have the insurance now, and a guy like Vladimir Tarasenko, where I feel like I know what I'm going to get from him, which is, a good middle six forward who's going to give you, if healthy, probably still 20 goals again.
Yeah, call it 15 to 20 goals for simplicity.
An easy 15 to 20 goals, maybe more if he's consistently playing in your top six. I know Isaac Howard, I want to give him the chance, but I also want the insurance there. And you can say that maybe that would overcomplicate things on either wing or whatever, but I want to make my team as deep as possible. I want to win the Stanley Cup. And how are you going to make your team as deep as possible? You continue to add, and your team's never good enough.
Yeah. I would just be preaching more patience and kind of like wait for a moment. I'm not saying the team's fit to win the Stanley Cup as it currently exists, but I think patience would be a little bit more of a virtue than continuous. Like, let's just sign 12 guys to play 9 spots. I'm not quite there right now, but hey, I see where you're coming from, because you always do. I think you're a little more comfortable as a management group knowing that there are some, call them backup plans or reserves in case of underperformance by young players, new players, etc.
Right? Like, what if Isaac Howard can't cut it this year? That's basically the ultimate wild card. Is Isaac Howard going to cut it? And I think he will, but I'd rather have a player who I know can cut it right now in a year that is so incredibly important in this city and for this team. So, I want to give Isaac Howard the chance, but I also want to have some level of safety net. And to me, some of these players available can give you that level of safety net. But we ran late again. So we will be right back. Of course, this is Fantasy Frenzy, powered by Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Kickoff is coming July 9th, Elks, Red Blacks at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. It's Salute to Service presented by YEG Plus. Help us celebrate the heroes and first responders who make our communities great. Get your tickets at goelks.com/tickets.
Got a car you're ready to part with? Find out what it's worth. Fast, easy, and totally free at Go Auto. We're talking top dollar trade-ins, whether it's a little worn or still rocking that new car smell. Just a few clicks, and boom, you've got your value. Text value to 780-777-7777 to start. That's value to 780 all sevens. Why guess what it's worth? Let Go Auto show you the money.
With Play Alberta, backing the home team goes beyond the bets. That's because your picks have provincial impact. Play Alberta is the only app in the province that puts all revenue directly back into supporting programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. By investing in the General Revenue Fund, every play, bet, and buy made on Play Alberta helps make a difference across the province. Visit playalberta.ca/Gregor to learn more. That's playalberta.ca/Gregor. Must be 18 plus to play. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Welcome to the Bro Zone, the ultimate garage setup for checking out the big game.
70-inch TV? Check. Surround sound? Check. Mini fridge fully stocked? Check.
But a legendary bro zone needs legendary snacks.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky.
Load up on Alberta's best beef jerky. It's the perfect game day companion when you're watching from the ultimate fan cave.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
From the first pitch to the final out. Catch Toronto Blue Jays baseball games live right here. Don't miss a moment of Blue Jays baseball this season. Sports 1440 is proud to be the home of Blue Jays baseball.
Alberta is growing, but our highways are crumbling. Are you tired of the rough ride? In the last 15 years, our population has grown with hundreds of thousands more cars and trucks on our highways. Today, more than 15% of Alberta's highways are in poor condition. Cutting highway maintenance doesn't save money. It makes repairs more expensive. Don't let the government ignore the problem. Your MLA works for you. Tell them to fix our roads. Visit fixourroads.com for more information.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
Hey, Gary, is that your dad?
No, this is Evan, the new sales rep I hired.
Oh.
First impressions matter, but when hair loss takes over, it can feel like you're not being seen for the maverick you truly are. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we know that hair loss is more than just a cosmetic issue. It's personal. Let's discuss all the cutting-edge options available so you can make a great impression every time.
Book a free consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Every coach needs a game plan. Plan your fantasy frenzy with Halley and Douglas right here on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky.
Welcome back. Fantasy Frenzy, of course, powered by Will Hawk Beef Jerky, home of Alberta's best beef jerky, willhawkbeefjerky.com. Triple C in a truck. He's got his Will Hawk in his passenger seat. I suggest more of you tag along to Triple C in a truck's great ways, because that's some that's unbelievable beef jerky. It's the best. So give them a try if you haven't already. It's you won't be disappointed. Plenty of other questions and stuff coming in on the text line here, Brando, that I think we should probably get to. We got people asking us about Rust or Raquel out of Pittsburgh. Do we have any interest in either of those players?
I would have interest in Rickard Raquel. Like he's a very low maintenance type of reliable, call it, 20 plus goal man. And I think, do we overblow or overvalue players showing an ability to play alongside the very best?
I think we undervalue it.
Like you think that is a tangible skill that we don't take into consideration. If we just say, hey, this is a guy that scored 20 goals, he'll score 20 goals here too. Or do you look at it and say, this is a guy that scored 20 goals playing beside Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin, and say that profiles out as a fit to then score 20 goals playing alongside Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl?
To me, if you can think the game well enough alongside Sidney Crosby, you can think the game well enough anywhere. And that's what matters most to me. I like that in a player. If you can think the game alongside, in my opinion, Sidney Crosby, who has probably one of the best hockey brains we've ever seen, easily, in my opinion, probably the best hockey brain in the game right now, you can keep up with anybody in terms of what's going on between the ears, right? And that's important to me, because I think sometimes the Oilers haven't signed necessarily the smartest of players. And so I've always, the smarts has always been what has intrigued me most about certain players. Is I value smarts over anything else. I know some people are more about, speed. I value the hockey IQ, because I think everything else can kind of come in line afterwards. I think smarts, like you look at a guy like Corey Perry, right? Where he is maybe the slowest guy I've ever seen, but he always seems to find himself in the right spot in front of the net. He always seems to find himself in the mix. That guy is so incredibly slow, but it in a lot of areas, it just doesn't matter because of how smart he is. So I have all day for Rickard Rakell, and I have all day for Brian Rust. Those two players, I'm more of a Rust guy. I think there's a higher ceiling there in terms of offensive output, and I think he's just a better player in my opinion. But I really like both players. I would trade for either of them. The only question is what would it cost? And to me, I think the cost would probably be a little too much.
Like acquisition
Yes,
cost.
acquisition. Yes.
So those are names that to me become more interesting in season.
Yeah.
Because do we expect Pittsburgh to duplicate the success they had last year?
No.
I don't either. And maybe that's being a little bit harsh because of a lot of things we just said about guys like Crosby and Malkin, that are generationally good players, like the very best that we've seen for the past 20 years. They are obviously older, and Gino back for maybe one more year, maybe more. It just seemed like last year everything kind of went right for them. And that includes changing their starting goaltender, where Skinner played well at times. They obviously used him in tandem with the likes of Shelovs, but they're committed now to Shelovs, and then the prospect, they're very high on Murashov being the guys. The decor is pretty much the same, sans Ryan Shea, who's obviously here. I don't know. I have a hard time seeing Pittsburgh being a playoff team again next season, which tells me that, yeah, you could probably get those guys both with one more year after this one. Pretty reasonable cap hits, just 5 and just over 5 for Rakell and Rust respectively. I think those are deadline buys.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there, Duke. But other texts coming in here, we have, what about Trail Max or Hudson on making an impact this year? I'm sorry, those guys are probably not going to make an impact this year. Like the Oilers have 14 guys deep at forward right now.
I don't know if you've been reading too much spec Latvian propaganda or something for Trail Max, but like he's 29 years old. He's an AHL player.
Yeah.
Is he a good farmhand that in a pinch can jump up and play? Yeah, sure. But if you're talking about like looking for an impact, man, that would really be something.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time seeing it. And for Hudson, if he can make the NHL team, it's probably as a bottom 6 player, right? The only real unknown right now that you're kind of looking at say, this is what we would like to happen, is Ike Howard blossoming in his second year pro into a guy you feel comfortable playing in your middle 6, maybe even preferably top 6 on a night-night basis. That's the ideal outcome for the Oilers heading into camp this fall, as the roster currently stands, at least for me. I think that's your ideal situation.
Yeah, and for a guy,
we don't live in an ideal world, though.
Yeah, you're right. And for me, with a guy like Quinn Hudson, you've just been passed on the depth chart by about 1 million guys, right? Like the Oilers have 14 capable NHL forwards, and they still got to sign Colton Dach. So
right,
yeah,
I see him coming up in case of injury or slumps for some of these bottom 6 players. He's playing well in Bakersfield. Does he get a call up as a reward and then a chance to flash a little bit at the NHL? Sure. But I don't envision him being a year-long contributor or extended period of time contributor. I see him as a fill in the gaps type player.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's a lot of guys who this Oilers roster have. They can make an impact if they get the chance. I think that's the advantages of having a team that is 14, maybe even 15 forwards deep and 8 defensemen on the back end. You're going to lose some of this depth, I would assume, through waivers, but you're also going to have a lot of guys who, if you do happen to, God forbid, get really banged up, I think you have a lot of players who, in a pinch, like you just outlined, can make some form of an impact here. We have people chiming in, time all day for Anthony Mantha. They have time for Evander Kane coming back over a guy like Michael Bunting. I don't know where you stand on this, Brando, but Evander Kane, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Based on what we saw from his time in Vancouver last year, and listen, the Canucks are terrible. Like, what's left? Do you really do you see him being the guy he was when he first got to Edmonton. I see him being maybe more the guy he was at the end of his time in Edmonton, which also wasn't a huge level of impact. Let's just call a spade a spade. He's the type of player, track his history, that he wears out his welcome. Great at first impression. Oilers fans will tell you that, no doubt. That first playoff run, awesome. Like, he's the type, the player type is exactly what you want. But is the player himself, the person, the right fit with a team in the spot the Oilers are in? I once again just go back to, like, what else is out there? What other options? Is that the best you can do? I think you could do better.
I would also suggest that people aren't going to like this, but for me with Evander Kane, he is so bad defensively that I don't want him anywhere near my bottom six.
Yeah, like, if you're playing in that type of role, you got to be more conscious of your defensive responsibilities, because you can't be out there, even if you are scoring 10 goals, you can't be giving up like a goal every third time you're on the ice either.
Yeah, I would I would totally agree. And for me, that's where I'm at with Evander Kane at this point, whether that's fair or not in your opinion. He's such a terrible defensive player that he's just never been able to get it done. But of course, this was Fantasy Frenzy powered by Wilhauk Beef Jerky. And now it's time for a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Cattail Crossing. Glow Night Golf every second Friday with you. Your chance on Friday, June 19th, 30 minutes after sunset, $65 a person, includes 9 holes walking, 1 global rental, $5 voucher at Out of Bounds. Book at cattailcrossing.ca. Here is Brandon Douglas.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Round of 16 World Cup action continuing on this afternoon. Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal up against Spain. 1 o'clock kickoff from Dallas, and then the nightcap, 6 o'clock start in Seattle, United States, with Flo Balogun, fresh off of the suspension of his suspension, will be in the lineup when the USA takes on Belgium. Lighter day in the majors with just 8 games total. Blue Jays open a set in San Fran against the Giants. Kevin Gausman on the hill for the Bluebirds. Landon Roop countering for the Giants. First pitch coming just after 7:45 Mountain. You can catch that game right here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere, Phillies and Royals set to get underway after the top of the hour. Rays hosting the Yankees. Astros in Washington. Mets up against the Braves. Cardinals play the Brewers. D-backs take on the Padres. And the Dodgers host the Rockies in the nightcap. And from Wimbledon, women's mixed doubles, Canadian Leila Annie Fernandez and her partner Joe Salisbury are in the midst of a quarterfinal matchup. They took the first set 7-6. Coming up on Sports 1440, it is the Lowdown with Low Tide. Brandon Douglas at your Sports 1440 update.